Leon,
Hi, John.
good to see you.
Good to see you. How are you?
I'm so good because I'm in Cape Town and things are
Welcome to
very
Cape Town.
nice here.
Yes.
You've been engaged in this for quite a while. You want
Yes.
to tell a little bit on the background?
Yes. It started out way back in 2016 when I came to Cape Town for the first time, just to run a 2 or 3 days Fiji image processing and analysis workshop. And at that time, the student body is mainly Cape Town students. And one of the things that I decided to do at that point is we have to do something bigger for Africa.
I'm from Ogun State, Rahmoon, in Nigeria. I've come here to have much of exposure on microscopy as regards our level of exposure when it comes to microscopy in Africa. I want to believe that it's still very, very low, and I want to be sure that this workshop is going to be rewarding, as I'm going to be seeing much of the advanced microscope equipments that will later help me in my research.
And so I went home and I started thinking about and preparing about what we can do to take this educational opportunity and microscopy training opportunity to a larger audience rather than just limited to within a city. So right before the pandemic in January of 2020, we launched our very first Imaging Africa workshop.
Yeah.
And that is when I sensed that something bigger has to be done. Because in the first Imaging Africa workshop, we only have 24 opening positions, and more than 700 people applied.
Oh,
and
wow. That's amazing.
Right? And that clearly is a very important message that we hit something important, and there's a very strong demand.
I expect to get more advanced techniques out of this workshop so that I can get more insight on microscopy techniques that I can be using for my project at the moment, and also learn more microscopy techniques that I can use in the workplace.
Always one small thing led to something bigger and something even bigger.
Yeah.
And so when we went back, everybody know what happened in 2020.
Yeah.
So that pandemic period actually gave me an opportunity to formulate this Africa Microscopy Initiative rather than just an educational opportunity, which we will continue to do, but now is to build an imaging center and also to get the whole world involved and get our industry partners such as Zeiss, such as Tissuenostics, and a Japanese company like Tokai to get involved as well. And so this is truly a multi-pronged approach to sort of, in a way, usher in a new microscopy era for the entire continent.
This is a lot about empowering also the scientific community.
Yes.
And that has already been shown.
Mm-hmm.
So it has happened, which is great.
Yes.
Just by imaging, you're also empowering science.
Yes, and bring people together.
Yeah. What kind of opportunities would you see in terms of the future, and also thinking about Janelia? We are both representatives of imaging organizations.
Yes.
Thinking about Euro-BioImaging. Anything that comes to your mind?
Oh, absolutely. And I think in a way, the possibilities, if you will, fit into the overall vision of the Africa Microscopy Initiative very well. At one end, the Africa Microscopy Initiative really will pave the way for a lot of the potentially high impact projects to give them a time to mature, to give them a time to develop, so that they, if need to, they can come to places like the Advanced Imaging Center in Geneva to continue their studies. But at the other end of the spectrum is to continue to expose the African scientific community to the possibility that there is now this open access imaging center.
Yeah.
That they no longer really have to give up their hope simply because they don't have access to an imaging instrument, just like they did before.
Also, like knowing about some imaging technique and image analysis is going to help me I'm trying to transition, actually, I'm postdoctoral fellow, I'm trying to transition to being an imaging analysis. So this was like the first thing for me to learn more about imaging. So that I can learn, so that I can transfer transfer and disseminate this information back home to my lab and to my students. I have this dream to also start another army, an African Microscopy Initiative, the second the second branch in Egypt, to have something in the South Africa and something in North Africa. They can work together.
In a way, it is the ultimate definition of empowerment, right? Is for scientists, instead of giving up hope, is they actually start looking for alternative solution. And another possibility that has immediately crystallized from Africa Microscopy Initiative is the creation of the Africa BioImaging Consortium, or ABIC, that also happened during the pandemic. And we, in a way, because of this excitement that has engendered by Amarh, we galvanized the Africa Microscopy Initiative, or research community in general, to start coming together, organize themselves, and becomes a very important dialogue partners with research funding agencies, and to start to be able to articulate their experimental needs and their experimental challenges better, so that they can tackle all of these together as a community.
One of the challenges that we touched upon with Digby and Karen was that the outreach, just to spread the gospel and to make people believe that this is actually available. This is a challenge. We have seen this in Euro-BioImaging.
Yes.
You have all these facilities, you have all this know-how, but people think that this is sort of a little bit too good to be true. So I think that's something where we could collaborate in terms of success stories, telling what could we use these machines for and these technologies and so forth.
And what you have mentioned about Euro-BioImaging precisely also captures the initial struggle of the AIC, or the Advanced Imaging Center in Geneva. You're absolutely right. People don't think that people thought that this kind of opportunity is just too good to be true. There's got to be a catch somewhere in there. But to the greater audience out there, it is very important to make this exceptionally clear. And this is truly an open access opportunity for African scientists, and that has no catch. We really just want to make this opportunity available to scientists who need it.
One of the key techniques I want to employ is microscopy. And I want to go beyond just the usual fluorescence and confocal I did during my PhD. I want to explore other options of microscopy. For example, super resolution microscopy just excites me a lot, SIM and others. So I think coming here is timely for me to be able to equip myself with some of these theoretical and practical microscopy techniques, so that when I go back there, I can start doing my mechanism of action studies, specifically with respect to microscopy.
And I think when it comes to science in general, the nice stories, those need to be told right now, because we see that also science is in struggle. It's sometimes it's a little bit under attack also. So I think we can make a pitch in that respect on our different continents.
Yes, absolutely.
When thinking again about the near future and a little bit distant future, anything that comes to your mind? That
one of the things that we also think it is very important is that this is an initiative that should be by African for African. And this is a great opportunity for the African leadership, especially the South African leadership, to really leverage this momentum and think about how they can play a regional leadership role and lead this initiative to its new chapter. And one of the things that I think it is also very important, as we are surrounded by a lot of this new
Yeah.
shiny tools, is the true most impactful investment for any funding agencies is actually in the people. And one thing that I personally would love to see happen is for Africa to funding agency to continue to put more focus on people and to create positions for imaging scientists to be successful in their career. And this is now, as you know very well in Euro-BioImaging, and this is actually an extremely important career track that actually facilitate a lot of science that otherwise would not have happened. And so I think to be able to invest in people, to be able to create core facility position, core facility career, so that their entire attention and their effort and their energy can be invested in continue to keep imaging centers like this running, continue to be able to raise awareness, continue to be able to provide top-notch training and expertise. And one thing that I rarely talk about, but I think it's important to hit home, is core facility imaging centers like this are the true institutional memories. You can train a postdoc, you can train a graduate student. At some point, if he or she leave the institution, you lose that technological memory, you lose that technical memory to the institution. But having a core facility like this will sustain that institutional memory for a technology platform such as this.
And I think it's quite easy to envision that a place like this will be a powerhouse of science.
Absolutely.
You have all the other technologies, you have proteomics, genomics, what have you, in the same building and actually on a different floor.
Yes.
But these are all coupled together.
Coupled together, and they can form really powerful synergy if managed strategically.
So the place is already a little bit up and running. We can hear background sounds and people are working. And
yes.
How about if we would go for lunch?
Sounds good.
We like to dwell in dark surroundings, but it's sunshine out, so
Absolutely.
let's go and have a
Very nice chatting with you,
Yeah,
John, as
likewise,
always.
Like.